Good morning. This is the morning of Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. I was let go from my job a week ago today, and in between sorting out what I need to do going forward, all the applications I have and will need to put in, and running the kids back and forth everywhere to school and appointments and whatnot, I've decided that I'm going to give this one more try. I've got time and a small bit of money to start this out. I'm actually going to try and promote it like I should have in the first place. This is for my ADHD fantasy sports podcast. And while it won't be exclusively fantasy sports, there will be betting and other ones going on. Episodes to produce. There we go. ADHD. I've got 8 hockey teams I'm running this year. One of them I know I won't be back for next year. And it's entirely possible that I let go of one other one depending on how things work out. I think I'm capped out here at 8. I don't think I really want to run more than that. I think I want to run closer to 6. I've got one long-time dynasty that I'm going to hold on to. I've got another one that started up 2 years ago that I like, but I might give that one up. I've got a rotating year-by-year one. I've got a old friends league that's kind of like collapsing on itself. There's only 8 of us left, and we barely made 8 people to get in. So I might give that one up. I don't know. And then there's one here through Discord, through Fantrax, that I might give up. So I might end up, if things work right, that's 1, 2, 3 leagues there, 2 leagues there. I might end up with 5 if I actually get some self-control. But we'll see what happens. Alright. So this is sort of going to be a year-end recap, part 1. Part 2 will come Monday, depending on the outcome of a few different things. I might make one more podcast beyond that at the end of the year. But most of the playoffs are pretty much over. Either the championship games are in session right now and will end on Sunday night, or you will have one more week of fantasy playoffs, which, while watching the NHL is cool, the problem is that runs up to the end of the NHL season, and all of a sudden you have all kinds of people sitting out that you wouldn't normally have sitting out. So you got to scramble and fill lineups with limited adds and drops. So let's go through this real quick. So the Friends League that's collapsing is on ESPN. We've finally made it to 8 people. We've had it as big as 12 before. We've run it as 10 a couple times. We cut it down to 8 because some people just said they don't have time for it, which is fine. I'm in a unique position at my household where I can run this many things. I'm also in a unique position, possibly in a negative way, where my ADHD is like, something new, let's get some dopamine in there. Beep, beep, beep. So I finished 8 out of 8 in a categories league. It's got goals, assists, plus minus, penalties and minutes, power play points, face-offs won, shots on goal, hits, blocks. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 offensive categories, and then 4 defensive categories, or goalie categories. I've got wins, saves, goals allowed average, and save percentage. Awesome. Problem is, I finished in second place, first place, last place. First place, that's already 3 firsts and a second offensively. I should be doing something. I missed out on the playoffs by a hair because the top 6 of 8 go, and I finished 6 categories back, which sucks. Middle of the pack, near the top, bottom of the pack, middle of the pack, toward the bottom, toward the top, and second place on saves. So, I've got 2 seconds, 3 firsts, and 2 lasts, and everything else in the middle. And in theory, maybe some of that should have balanced out, and I should have been able to win some things. Unfortunately, the variables of the week is sometimes you get unlucky, and things just don't work. I don't like 8 teams because of how bunched everything is. I grew up playing 8 teams, so it's okay. I didn't know as many people, so if I missed on someone, oh man, that's someone else I need to know. Now when I run 8 teams after being in 12 teams regularly, if not 16, and there are 20-team leagues I'm in for hockey. Look, there are so many people that you can and can't have that the line between, wow, this is a make or break guy, is fantastically small. And throughout the year, I only made 7 adds and drops because this is also a weekly lineup block. So it's not like, oh, well, this day this guy's in, let me move him up, or that guy's in, let me do that. Oh, well, he's been bumped from second line to third line, so his stats are going to change. Let me shift this guy in instead to reinforce those stats. I can't do that with this league. So this year, I barely made it back in. Next year, I'm going to tell him thanks, but no thanks. So that's my ESPN league. I've got one Yahoo League, the Gong Show Keeper League. It's been going on for, this will be the end of its 3rd season. I came in toward the end of the 1st season because the owner was trash. I traded away a bunch of people, moved from second to, or moved from last to almost last. Okay, so I had to stop there for a second and help out with some stuff downstairs with the dogs at this hour. Okay, cool. So, moving on to the Gong Show Keeper League. Like I said, I had taken over a team that was in 20th place, sold off all the assets for a bunch of first round picks, threw them down on players that didn't produce, and then instead of trying to figure out how to leverage first round picks into longer term holds, I went all in, failed, couldn't drop a whole bunch of people because they were quote unquote too valuable. Didn't trade any of them because they were quote unquote too valuable. And then just screwed up and ended up in 7th place. So I had a bunch of not valuable picks, a couple of keepers, and then I finished in 15th out of 20th places. My best players being Adrian Kempe, who finished 61st. I got lucky that Marchenko fell to me all the way in the 16th round. I didn't think he was going to fall that far. And then I got Alex Tuck. Like, that's kind of it on my team. I've got Joey Decord and Lukas Dostal for long-term holds at goalie. I like them. This is a league. Okay, so the reason why I gave the rounds is because this is the one where you draft a play where you can keep 7 players at the round they were drafted at the previous year -1 or +1. So if you drafted somebody in the 8th round, like Joey Decord was picked, you can keep them for the equivalent of a 7th round pick. Is Decord worth that? Probably not. But am I going to get him back at that round? It's entirely possible I don't. Dostal, on the other hand, I drafted in the 17th round. I got lucky. I actually took a stab at him late, exactly where I need to be. So essentially, I'm going to keep Dostal, probably Decord, Tuck, that's 3, Marchenko, Kempe, and I got lucky and traded for Marty Necas this year in my Joey Decord trade. I don't remember who I traded for him. I'll come and look that up later in the offseason when I'm analyzing my stuff a little bit better. But that's kind of it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I'll keep just 6 people this year because Couturier is not going to get kept. Zach Benson maybe gets kept. He was a 20th round pick, so I think he will return better than 19th round value. Riker Evans is available. I have to drop him and then draft him later. Scott Morrow finally came up. That was a 22nd round pick. Maybe I keep Scott Morrow. Who knows? Jake Neighbors I just picked up off the waiver wire. There's no way Jake Neighbors should ever have been dropped. He was a 9th round pick, so I think Neighbors will be worth an 8th rounder next year. Like, I can find value. That's not the problem. And that the question is how I should construct the team after that. And this league gets very, very tightly wound. And man, I got Denton Matejchuk. I also took in the 22nd round. He's looking pretty fucking good. So that's that league. Let's go through my bar down league. This is the one I've been in the longest. I've been in this one. This will be my 4th year in the league. I joined in 2021, right at the start of the league's 3rd season. Upset the owner, the first, the guy, the commish. There we go. Upset commish in the first round. Ended up in 4th place, and then consecutive 7th place finishes. In the league, this year I missed the playoffs, so instead of winning the final matchup, I lost my matchup and just finished in 10th place. I just did not do very good at all. Never mind, I didn't even finish in 10th place. In 10th place, you don't even get the playoffs. You're there. So I've got that. This is a team that went 4th, 7th, and 7th, and now 10th. I've got to fix my goalie situation. Like, I've got Georgiev, who absolutely collapsed in Colorado. I've got Markstrom, who's getting a little long in the tooth, but is still producing. Merzlikins is not the player I thought I had. I moved him in a trade for Aiden Hill and a pick, which I might have screwed that one up. But I did. That trade did technically net me Shane Wright. So Wright's finally showing out in the last month or so or whatever, but getting 41 points in 73 games, his first full season, I like that. 42 points in 73 games? Fine. That means I'm going to expect 55 to 60 points out of him next year, assuming he keeps this up. And I mean, I've got some nice pieces on this team. I've got Brady Tkachuk, who was injured for a chunk of this year. I've got Jordan Kyrou. Excuse me. I've got Kevin Fiala, Drake Batherson. Matthew Olivier is ranked high in this league because this one counts hits. It goes goals, assists, penalty minutes, so he's high on that. Power play points, shots, hits, blocks. And for a forward, he blocks a lot. 71 blocks this year as a forward is pretty high. 276 hits, among the leaders in hits. Hell, more than Brady. 102 is pretty respectable shots. Probably should have more. The 125 penalty minutes, one of the tops in the league, even higher than Brady again. Elias Pettersson collapsed. I picked up Cheadle off the waiver wire. Got Riker Evans in this league, which should be good for me for the next couple of years. Zach Benson in this league. I've got some decent young pieces, but I've got to figure some crap out because my minors is Muse, Stiga, Bassett, and Griddian, and I don't think I've got Griddian on any other team. Like Stiga, I've been close. Bassett, I've got on a couple teams, and Muse, I traded in one league. So I've got some decent prospects, but I don't have good young players that are going to get a lot of playing time. So we'll see what happens next year. We'll see who I keep, who I drop. It'll probably be one of those where I drop some defensive players and then just go through the blender and figure out a decor. But we'll see what happens. On to the Fantrax League that I'm done in as well. I finished 11th out of 14th. This one I might give up. I'm a part of the Keeping Carlson Discord group, channel, whatever. So I've played there 2 straight years. This is my 3rd year doing it. And one of the guys in there from the Midwest has a little side league with his buddies, and I'm in that. And he runs a hockey league and a baseball league. I don't know if I'm going to do hockey in that one again next year. I'm okay in it, but I never pay enough attention to it, so I need to cut that one down so I can just only focus on, like I said, 5 teams, maybe 6 teams tops. So yeah, 11th out of 12th, and it did not end up good. I wasn't too good in any one category in this league with goals, assists, shots on goals, special teams points, hits, blocks, goalie points, and saves. So like low on goals, decently low on assists, shots on goal medium, special teams points low. Hits was pretty good, but hits are like half a point instead of a full point, which kind of sucks. Blocks I was decently low on. Goalie stuff I was like trash on. Like I had Soros and Swayman all year, and I wasn't going to drop one or the other. I just had to hope that one of them came back. It's like that. That's it. Those teams are all potentially teams that I don't come back to, except for Gong Show, and only because the commish of the Gong Show is also the commish of that Bar Down League, and I owe him a lot for getting me started into prospects and figuring that stuff out. Because if I had not done if I had not done that league for Dynasty, I would not have started with other deeper dynasties, and I would have not gone to Keeping Carlson and that dynasty and another dynasty based off of people from Keeping Carlson and all kinds of junk. Like it's a process. So I owe him, and I really don't want to just bail on him, but I have too many things, and we'll see what happens. So, one of the players I played with in the Bar Down League also started up another Dynasty League on the side called NHL Dynasty. Last year I did alright. I believe I finished in third place in that league. This one, I'm in the final four. Again, I finished in fifth place in the regular season, but fourth in total points. It's not looking good for my team. Like, I've had some really bad like days, because this is a league where you can take negative points and fractional points. And I just did not do very good in it this week, so I'm projected to lose by 12 points, but I've still got 4 player ads left, but there's not really a lot of people I can drop right now because everyone else still plays, and I don't have to worry about, oh, well, you play here, and I can't fit you in the lineup, so I can't, like, drop someone and pick up 2 games. It would be like, I drop you and pick up 1 game. How do I do this? Last year, I finished 4th in that league. I finished fourth in that league after finishing 4th in the regular season. So, like, I did alright. I crushed the first round of the playoffs and then went on. But this year, like, this year I finished 5th. I won my first round pick, or first round matchup by 30-something points. I'm probably going to end up in 4th again this year because everyone else is out crushing me and my opponent right now. So I'm probably going to finish 4th. Maybe I stay, maybe I don't stay. The fractional points are a little weird. I've got Leon Draisaitl and Cutter Gauthier, however they say his name. I've got Wyatt Johnson in this league. Shane Wright, Jack Quinn, Alex DeBrincat. I've got Mitch Koff and Stan Coven. And then I've got Wolf and Saros. Like, I've got some decent guys in this league. Maybe I come back, maybe not. I got Mo Sider and Sergachev. Like, it's a 12-team league. Let me pull this up real quick. It's a 16-team league. I don't know. That's good. That's good for a 16-team league. I don't know. I'll probably come back to that one. I've got my yearly cupful team, made tier 5, missed out on the playoffs because I lost by like 4 points one week, or less than 4 points one week. So I'm in the consolation bracket. I'm going to stay in tier 5. There's 6 tiers right now. There's probably going to be 6 tiers next year. I finished 7th, lost in tiebreak. 6th, 7th, and 8th, all was 11 and 10. And if I'd beaten the 3rd place team, 3rd, 4th, and me in 5th would have all been tied. Actually, 4th, So third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth all would have been tied at 12 and 9. It'd have been a weird points thing, but whatever. It's that portion's over and done with. And the guy I'm playing right now was actually in the same league I was in my first year in couple. It was really funny. Like, there's only so many people with the team name that he made, and I looked at his username and I'm like, that guy looks familiar. There's only so many people with that name in it, and it's like, oh my god. So, like, I've had a back and forth week. Right now I'm up by 2.75 points. I'm projected to win by 17-ish. I've still got all 4 of my ads for the week left. I don't think I'm going to use them all. Let me see. He's got 2 games left. He's got 1 game left. He's got 1 game left. 2 games, 2 games, 2 games. Guy's injured. Yeah, like, probably should have dropped Luke Hughes. No, probably not. I don't know. I might be able to. Hughes for a Dallas D. Hughes for a Columbus D. Maybe. Alright, cool. I've still got things to figure out. I have a chance to finish in 7th place in this one. It'll be, like, awesome for me because this is a league where I was left 4 dead at the end of the year, and I only lost 2 games out of my last, like, 10 to make it into the playoffs. Let me look at this schedule. Yeah. Like, since week 12, which was the week of Christmas, essentially the week I go to Florida. This is awesome. I 1, 2 wins, lost 1, 2, 3, 5 and 1, lost 5 and 2, 6 and 2, 7 and 2, and I lose the last week of the season to the guy that's number 1 place, crushing everybody. That's fine. I knew I knew that was going to happen, literally that way. So I think the 4-point loss to the guy that ended up in 11th place is probably the one that's going to hurt me the most. Because everything else was like bigger losses. Everything was like 15 plus to 70-point losses to like really good offensive teams. And then I started crushing it at the end of the year. Like I said, lost 2 times in that span and then lost the last week of the season. So technically I finished 6 and 3, but it was definitely a spot where it's like, fudge, I'm not going to be able to do this. So that's my Keeping Karlsson one. I've got 2 more left to go. Oh my god, at 23 minutes. Okay, let's hurry this up. Like I said, I'm going to have quick updates on these guys later. This is just a matter of, good lord, that's 8 teams that I've got to go through and give my explanation. This is my story and all these things. Okay, cool. So I'm in that Keeping Karlsson Dynasty League because I've been in the Discord and in those leagues for 3... I was in there for 2 years straight, and I was an active part of the Discord, talking about things, giving information, putting out memes a lot. In fact, my team there is called the Meme Team that I co-own with another guy who I will meet in the following league that I talk about last. This one, we made it to the Final 4. Like, we finished in 6th place out of 20 teams. We won our first round. We lost our second round. And now we are in the lead right now. We are not in the lead right now. I'm sorry. Fantrax updated just a second ago. We are down 5 and 3 right now, but we should be okay. I don't know. We're behind in... That's why, because we finally gave up assists. We need some goalie work tonight. We've got both our goalies, Ottinger and Swayman, starting, and we're playing against Bennington, so that should be fun. Bennington is home against Pittsburgh. Oh, good lord. He might get a shutout tonight. That's going to be bad. Yeah, so I'm going to need both my guys to do well. So if we can retake the goalie points, we'll be tied 4 and 4, and because we're higher in the standings, we will win 3rd place. But it will be definitely a very tough matchup. We are only up by 1 in special teams points. luck of the bounce, we're back 2 on assists, and we just don't have enough shots on goal to make this all work, which is something we're going to have to focus on next year. Like, we've got a metric ton of hits. A metric ton. To the point that the guy we picked up for hits, ultimately, we probably didn't need. But, I mean, he's extremely helpful. So, the guy I co-own this team with is really good at picking up guys that come straight out of minors. Those guys are more likely to be hitters than shooters. And hitters instead of blockers, unless we get lucky with the D guy. But this one's going to be tied all the way down to the wire. It'll be fun to figure out this team in the offseason. I've put in a lot of work putting out averages for these players, and I'm going to go and update at the end of next week. I've got contracts for this one. Oh yeah, that's the special thing about this one and the last one. These are my contract leagues. So we have a salary cap. We have players being pegged to their salary, like in the NHL. We have years on the contracts. This one's where we actually have to manage a team rather than manage players. So, like, if you have a trash player, you might be stuck with the trash player because he costs too much for this year. He's there for too many years and you can't afford the buyout, something. But, like, we've got players up and down our minors that'll come up in this league. This will be a fun league to go through. We've got Monahan and Voronkov in it. Monahan's getting a little old at 30, 31. He should be fine for a little longer. Kiefer Sherwood's going to keep beating up people. We'll see if Zucker can maintain his health next year. I mean, he's missed 10 games this year, 11 games. I mean, if he only misses 10 or 11 games next year, I'll be happy with that because he didn't do that last year. He only played 18 games. He didn't do that the year before. Or last year he had 69 games. The year before he got lucky and had 78, but it's like 41, 38, 60. And then he hasn't really been healthy for like 7-8 years now. For like a full season. Which is fine. I expect this guy to be injured most of the time. We've got young players like Martin Natchez, which was pretty dope. We've got Olivier in this league. And then we've got Luke and Quinn Hughes backstopping us. Then we got a handful of other guys. Barkov. Tyson Forrester maybe can have a little more offense now that John Tortorella's out of Philly. We got guys like Luca Del Bell might be up next year. Maybe he sits one more year in the minors. We'll see what Columbus does with that lineup. There's some things that'll change in Columbus, but I don't know how exactly that's going to work because, like, I like the crew they have. They've got hitters where they need to hit. You've got offense where they need to offense. It's just making sure that D core works, and the problem is we need better D players. And Werenski's not going to go anywhere. Matejchuk finally came up. Like, outside of those guys, like Goodbranson's probably going to go. Fabro was a nice pickup, but he's going to... He'll probably be back next year. Jack Johnson will be gone. Like, Severson and Provorov. Like, Provorov might be gone. I would love to have Provorov back and run Matejchuk, Provorov, and Werenski. And then combine them with someone else, like take Severson, Goodbranson, and move them somewhere. They picked up Jordan Harris in that Patrick Laine trade. Like, there's things Columbus can do. But I digress. I got a little into the weeds over there just looking at all the Columbus players. But yeah, like, this is a good team. We should be able to compete because we've got a fair amount of contracts that are going to expire this year. We can afford to bring them back. And we've got a decent amount of young guys that will be up in the majors next year. That's one of the things I checked out on my spreadsheet that I made. That I made sure to put in games played for all our minors qualified players. The skaters can skate up to 100 games. Once they hit 100, they're done. So essentially, at 99 games, you drop them, they're gone. You're not on the hook for their contract anymore. Goalies make it to 50 games, and then you don't have to hold on to them anymore. So we'll see what happens. This one is really good. I really like my co-manager because he will pick up on things, and I will set lineups and keep things straight. He will come in to help with lineups, but he is definitely a, hey, I solved this thing. What do you think? And I mean, I'm a, hey, I've got this. What do you think kind of guy instead of, hey, I'm doing this. Very few things are unilateral on either side. Like when I was out in Florida for a while, when I was in California, it's like, hey, I'm going to get this set up. If you can manage it, dope. Do whatever you need to do. Pick up, drop, do these things, get it done. And it's like, all right, go. I'm going. And then the other one is like, hey, I'm putting this guy on the watch list because I think we need to watch him. And then as our yearly ads dwindled, it's like, all right, well, this guy's going on the watch list. We don't need him, but maybe for next year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, last not least, the TFL, the Transatlantic Friends League. This one, I missed the playoffs. I was in 9th place out of 20. 9th place out of 18, excuse me. I made a stupid trade toward the end of the year. Shouldn't have done it. Should not have done it. But I've got a metric ton of draft picks. I've still got 3 firsts and a second next year in a 4-round draft. And then I've got a second in 2026. And then like a first, third, and fourth in 2027. Like, I sold my 2026 draft to pick up some stuff this year. Which probably should not have done. Let me see if I can find the right guy here. Connor Garland. There we go. So, I picked up Connor Garland and Jason Zucker to make a push for the playoffs. I got told by people not to do it. I traded a 2026 first and a 2027 second. Cole Bedouin, Ollie Mata, and Luke Kunin for him. Kunin was a cap dump. Ollie Mata was a cap dump. And Bedouin was just the prospect to make it work. But I traded a first and a second, my first and second, for Zucker, Garland. But I picked up Jesse Pulkkinen because I'm a sucker for that guy. The guy from not Jesse Severe, Victor Nuno. Victor Nuno recommended Jesse Pulkkinen the year that Pulkkinen got drafted, and I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I like it. And then I got Jacob Badagila out of the Calgary system, and I've got so many fucking Calgary guys on this minor league roster. I've got Luke Misa and Andrew Basha and Jacob Badala. I don't think I had Henry Muse on this one. I think I missed out on Muse by a couple picks, but there's an outside shot I could probably get a hold of him. But this one has small minors listed. This one only has a 20-man minor. The last one I was talking about, the Cupful Dynasty, that one is a 30-man minors. That one's where it's like, hey, here's a guy who's only going to be physical. You can afford to roster him in your minors because he's not going to hurt you in a points league because he's never going to score a goal. He's only going to hit and block people and maybe put a couple shots on net. But, like, finished 8, like I said, 9th out of 18 teams. I finished 2 games out of the playoffs. I did decent for my points. Probably could have done better. I kind of got screwed this year. Luck of the draw. I had the second worst points against kind of thing. But my offensive categories were also 9th. So that's probably why I didn't make it into the playoffs. That one will be a fun team to look at. Sean Monahan on that team. Played his fucking lights out this year. Monahan and Tuck. Marchenko. I've got Shane Wright on this team. Cole Sillinger. Like Pospisil maybe. But I got Troy Terry and Brock Bosser and Connor Garland, Alex Tuck, Jordan Coryu, goalies Bennington, Nedeljkovic, and Swayman. Swayman really fell apart this year. Oh, he looked so good last year, and I had a chance to sell him. Probably should have. Should have bought Ottinger in this one when I started up. Alright, whatever. I've got the important part is my minor system is centered on Zeev Buium, Tej Iginla, and Berkeley Catton. Those are my guys. Catton, if he can make 70 points a game, dope. Probably gonna have to wait 3 more years to see that. Tej Iginla, at least 3 years. Also, possibly 4 years before he hits that amount. Zeev Buium, if I am lucky, in 2 years he is running the show in Minnesota. Not next year. Next year will be a cup of coffee. The following year, maybe. So it's the 26-27 season that I will have to wait for him to actually work out for me. But we'll see what happens. I've learned a lot about picking and streaming guys. Like I said previously, my co-manager in the Cadupful is actually in the championship game for the Transatlantic Friends League and is absolutely crushing it. He is up 146 points right now with just a couple days to go. With 3 days to go. He is not going to be beat unless he literally puts everybody on the bench. That is the only way he can do it. But he absolutely crushed it this year. He has a really good team. As long as he doesn't, like, fuck some stuff up. Yeah, he's got guys. Some of them, we'll see what happens. He's gonna be in for an interesting financial time here, and he's traded away early picks to get solid players. He's done everything he can to make this team work for him. So I believe that's it for my hockey podcast. I'm sorry that it's gone on almost 37 minutes. I get really into it. I'll have a smaller one next week, or I'll have a smaller one Monday morning. And that I'll probably put one out for hockey, because all my hockey teams will be done bar one league. And that one I'll just, like, hey, this is where I think it's going to land kind of thing. And everything else I will go and give, like, an off-season recap at some point, probably here in a couple weeks. I hope this was enjoyable. If you like what I have, like, subscribe, leave comments wherever you can. I'm going to leave links to all my other pages. I've got a website set up for this that I hope to put out a couple, like, little quick articles about stuff at some point. And I will keep everything linked better this time. I actually have the Instagram set up and the Facebook set up, the Patreon set up. $1 a month, not going to get you anything extra. It's a will you feed a starving artist level of stuff, which would be cool, but probably not going to happen. I will get more things set up soon. I hope you enjoyed this. Please share with everybody. Thank you very much and have a great day.